kind of hard to see it. Maybe we'll get to the side here. We were able to get the firewall out. Now, I know we got this out. Got the plasma cutter cutting a lot better. You just got to turn the air pressure down on it or it'll blow that arc out, like I said. Still may need these side panels. Definitely gonna need the piece for the bracket, but I'll cut it in a way to where, you know, we can scab it in on the Colorado. Hopefully that steering column is not gonna be too low. We'll figure that out when we get there. Worst comes to worst, you know, we can take it off right through there. I just want it all together, you know what I'm saying, and be able to hang the pedal rack and do whatever we got to do. We left it together to make a roller, so that's connected up to the frame rail on these towers. That'll be plenty strong. Still gotta get that out. We got strip door panels, strip the wiring harness, take out our donor pieces in case we need to make something for that plug to make it look beautiful again. But we beat the heat. I'm done. That's gonna be a wrap for this weekend. Gonna take a day or two off, get cleaned up. Like I say, clean. We were able to get it apart. We blowed out the spot welds. I got snagged up on that brake right here, so I had to take a block of wood, a stick, and finesse it out this side. It had to come out. We beat right there where the towers for the struts went on this side and was able to wiggle it out. And now it still had glue and all kinds of jazz in there. So, and what I did is I just cut it low on the windshield here, left the glass in it. That way we ain't bothering nothing. And then we cut it high. Just cut it high right through there. Lift the glass in. Like I say, we were trying to get down in here to these frame rails with that piece here, the way we cut it all the way across the floor. That just wasn't going to work. So basically just needed the holes and the brackets and stuff. So we just got everything to hang the dash with other than these side kick panels. And that's going to be enough for me for a day or two. Got a real good start on it. Probably gonna have to strip the door panel in order to do all this jazz and get those panels off so we can have something to hang the dash with. Like I say, we haven't even pulled the truck apart to really look at it, but definitely gonna have to have this stuff here in order to do it. You know, you got all your brackets to the outside, you got all your mounting stuff. Right there's everything to hang the pedal rack, the AC, everything. Bolt the dash up. Like I say, I might pull that dash pad off of the donor and see if I can cut my factory dash, if we can get the steering column and the brake booster on there with no issue. And the pedals are not too high after we taken, you know, you might have to take that panel up. I don't know what we'll have to do, but I done it to a couple F-150s, and we had an old Ford Ranger that we built one time, and it had a newer model dash. I had to do that same thing, but you know, it was closer, so I just left it about that long, 2 inches, cut it low, cut it high on the other one, and stuck it on there and just put some self-tappers in it and spot welded it together really quick. Like, didn't take long. And we had to do the same thing with the side panels on that Ford Ranger, you know, because it was different the way everything mounted up. Had a newer model dash, used all that running gear, motor, transmission, and the drive lines went together, but it's just what we did. There it is. It's cut apart. So we got a real start. We've been at this for a little while. We get our door panel stripped. We get the wiring harnesses out. We get all of our patch pieces. We get our side pieces, and that'll have this thing gutted. And now we got the motor out. We got the dash out, the wiring harness all the way out to the taillights. We got fuel lines to make something happen. Now we might be able to use some Colorado, some Chevy Malibu, but I definitely had to get this motor mount out. That was something that had to come out for the front of the motor to be able to hang that motor once we get that plate up. That'll be the very thing that we have to make fit, is the motor with the motor plate and that bracket to where we can let the frame puller and let it hold its own weight, and then we can figure out what it's going to take to maybe make that dash made up to what we got going on. I want to make it made up, that way we can have it starting off the key. You know, aftermarket wiring harness, you know, I looked around. You know, if you want to throw about $8,000 at it, I mean, that's turnkey. You know, buying stuff, you know, a lot of people think you got to buy everything. I like to chop stuff up and, you know, whatever. Now for the YouTube, it don't really matter. I don't try to get money off YouTube, blah, blah, blah. You know, we're just doing this for fun. And honestly, I would rather have a manual style throttle body, so we don't have no problems with limp mode or whatever. If you can start that motor and you can shift that transmission, it'll go, as long as it ain't getting hot or whatever. We're going to fabric cobble something together here. I've done it before, but you know, couldn't do really much with this car. I mean, you look at it, it's rotted, the frame rail. If you get hit with that thing, it'd fold up like a brick. You know, look at the floorboards, they're pretty much gone to the inner rocker. That stuff's obsolete too. You know, if you could find it, it would just be too much. You know, the rockers, most of that underbody was decent, but it needed, you know, it had to put a whole uniside, inner outer rockers, probably put a floorboard in it, and frame rails. You know, you just can't get that stuff unless you find something you can cut up, and then you're cutting one up, you know. Cutting 2, 3 up, 4 up to make one happen. But we're going to try this and get her done. That's a day. I beat the heat, thank goodness, and just going to pick up, clean up, get stuff to where we can keep track of it, and hopefully scab this thing together. I'm wanting to get that old truck together and be able to enjoy it for what it is. You know, it's been sitting for a little while, couldn't get parts, they're always on back order, blah, 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 blah. I don't care to put the work into it, so we're just going to have to see what we can make happen. Might take a little while to get it finessed all together and make it all happen, but at least we got something that, you know, if we can get that in there and get it started and get the transmission to shift, whatever we got to do, I feel more confident with that. You know, you keep throwing throttle bodies and gas pedals and stuff, that's just ridiculous. It's a money game. I don't have no money, so I got more time than we got money. Have a good weekend, guys.